Hi, it says I'm live. I'm alive. Hello and greetings from Southwest Georgia. Here on this actually, it's the 5th day of June, 2018. I greet you with love and light of the infinite creator, and I send my heartfelt blessings and good energy to all of you. I wish to document this. It's a miracle. I don't. There's not. It's unexplainable. Let me tell you what happened this evening, and then you can judge for yourself. And my friend called me earlier when I was live on Facebook, discussing this same thing, and this is what happened. My dear friend Marcia, who I haven't seen in a while, and things have happened in her world, my world. It's okay. And she calls me up out of the blue today and says, "Hey, ride into town with me. Let's go to IHOP in Thomasville, and I'll treat you to dinner, and let's reconnect." Blah, blah, blah. Oh, okay, fine. So I was thinking in the back of my mind, I've been wanting to go to IHOP. Of course, you already knew that in a mental sort of way. And but I'd already made up my mind that because I had missed her birthday, many things happened to her on her birthday, and we just didn't connect. And I was like, one of these days I'm going to take Marcia out to dinner and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so we get there and we're talking, having conversation. Everything's fine and dandy and everything, So when it comes time for the bill, I say, "Sorry, but I'm paying for this." And it's like, "No." And I said, "Don't argue. This is not an argument thing. I'm paying for this. This is my birthday present belated to you. Your birthday was in February. I'm sorry this is late. This is the first time we got together. Here, this is my birthday present, but just hush." "Well, I'll pay for the tip." Okay, so I paid. No problem. I had intended. That was my intention. Not to try to overdo her, but my intention. Belated birthday present. Now, we get in the car and we're headed towards the house, right? And I'm discussing the things that have been happening, the spiritual things that have been happening to me, things that I've seen, things that have been shown to me. And how can I explain, well, I've seen this, but I don't have proof, It happened to me, and all I can say is that I'm telling you that I would not lie to you about these things. I am telling you the truth. And as my friend, all I can say is that you can accept or deny whether or not I'm telling you the truth. It's okay. You don't have to believe me, but as one person to another, as a friend to a friend, these things happen to me, and this is what's happened. And, these things are unbelievable. I don't have a picture. I don't have something to prove it, but it happened to me, and nobody was around. I can't prove it, but it happened. So this is the discussion we're having, and on the way out of town. And we stop at the last store before we head into the country. Convenience store, there it is. And I tell my friend, I say, as she's pulling into the parking lot, right? I say, "You need some gas." And I've already looked at her gas gauge. She's not out, but $10 is going to help, right? And I say, "So pull up to one of the pumps there." So we stop, and the car stopped, and I'm getting ready to get out. And I look at the thing, and I'm not paying attention to how much it is or anything like that. I did look at the price kind of quickly, and I was like, well, 369, well, that'll give you 3 gallons, okay, well, 3 gallons, that'll get you, okay, at least 3 gallons, that's at least $10 worth. Okay. So I say, "Martha, how about $10 worth?" She says, "Okay." And then as I'm getting out of the car, she said, "Do you want me to pump it?" I said, "Yeah, that'd be nice." So I'm walking into the store, which is a good ways away. Now, I didn't realize that she had pulled the handle, put it in the car, had flipped the button, and was pumping. So when I go into the store, I get a gallon of milk. I want a pack of cigarettes, a gallon of milk, and a scratch-off ticket for her as a birthday present, and and I'm going to pay for the gas. So I say, "Okay, there's $10 worth of gas on number 5," and she goes, "I'm sorry, what?" She's already paid for the gas. And I said, "Excuse me?" She's already paid for the gas. She swiped her card. And I said, "Are you sure?" She goes, "Yeah, you can't pay for it because it's already paid for. The pump wouldn't start unless she swiped her card." I said, "Okay." And I'm thinking, but I just told her that I was going to pay. All right. We've had these little arguments before. in that, well, you know, I said I'm going to let you pay for it, but actually I'm going to go ahead and do it. And then you can argue with me later, because she promised she was going to take me to dinner when actually I ended up paying for it. So here I am buying her gas, which she really didn't ask. I offered and was paying for. So I walk back out to the car and she's going, you know, it won't pump any more gas. And I said, what do you mean? She goes, well, it's stuck on $6.68. Okay. Didn't you pay for it? And I said, no. And I said, the lady in there said, you swiped your card so that you could pump the gas. She said, I don't have my card out. I didn't swipe it. I just put the hose in and flipped the switch and started pumping. So I asked her, I said, Martha, don't be playing around with me here. This is serious. You didn't swipe your card to start the pump. No, Dave, I didn't. But I can't, it won't go past $6.68. And she had taken the nozzle out and put it back on the machine. So I walked back in the store, okay? And I have $6 and the money change. It just so happens that was the change left over from the money I gave the cashier. Okay, that was just a weird one to me. And I was like, okay, but I got the money in my hand. So I go, look, I say, she says she didn't swipe her card. So here's the $6.68 I want to pay for the gas. The cashier looks at me and she said, sir, someone already swiped the card for $10 worth of gas, because otherwise she would not have been able to pump the gas to begin with. The pump won't come on. And I said, ma'am, she didn't use her card. There's a mistake. Here's the $6.68. I don't want you to think later on that we pulled off without paying for the gas. She got her little computer thing and she's punching little numbers and turning the thing so I can see. She said, sir, I can't take your money because it's already been paid for. I said, ma'am, I'm sorry. I know we're having this little argument kind of thing, but I'm just trying to make sure she didn't swipe her card. Who swiped the card? Who put $10 on the thing for her to pump gas? She said, and she's looking on her little thing and she says, I don't know, but somebody swiped a card. So I'm standing there literally with a dumb ass look on my face going, ma'am, she didn't swipe her card and I came in to pay you cash. And you're telling me that someone swiped their card on that pump number 5 before we got there so we could get gas. She said, sir, I don't know what. And she's looking out the window. There was nobody in the parking lot when we pulled up. None of this stuff was going on. So I'm looking at her and I go, ma'am, this is really creepy for all of us. Bear with me. Please check one more time. Do I owe you this $6.68? Because neither one of us swiped a card, and we don't understand how she could pump $6.68 into her car and then stop and not want to pump anymore. She doesn't have a full tank. We don't understand this. And she looked on her monitor and she's hitting all these little buttons. She's got this screwed up look on her face and she goes, sir, it's paid for, okay? I'm not going to turn, there's nothing, it's paid for. I'm telling you, it's here. And I said, well, paid for $10, but we only got, she said, I don't know, but it's, you know. And it wouldn't pump any more than $6.68. So I walked back out to the car, shaking my head going, I don't believe this. I mean, I'm sitting here telling you this story. It happened a couple hours ago. I still don't get it, kind of thing. So I get back in the car with my friend and I got the $6 and pennies he had. And I said, look, there must be a message in this. And both of us kind of studied the numbers and gematria a little bit. You know, we understand that there are messages in there. And I said, we need to write these numbers down just because. And she goes, well, I've got a numbers book at home and it's an angel book number thing. And she goes, okay, so it was $6.68. All right. She got 2.42 gallons. Okay, we wrote that number down. It was $2.75 per gallon that we wrote that number down. There was one or two other numbers. So she dropped me off, and then it takes her another 15 minutes to get home, unload, whatever. So I'm so freaked out. I go right to Facebook. I go live, and I'm talking about, like just I'm saying right here with you, I'm explaining this, and then my phone rings. It's Marcia. She's looked up the numbers. And the numbers, the one says the 668. Now I can't quote because I didn't write it down, but it's recorded on my Facebook thing. But to the point, it was like your higher beings and your guardian angels and your spirit guides are with you and blah, 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 blah. All right. Okay. The 242, it says your mind is, oh, I wrote part of this down. So for the 242, it was you have an open mind and a clear contact with your guardian angel and your spirit self. Okay. Now for the 275, she looks at that number. We're on the phone. I'm live on Facebook. She's reading it out and she says, these numbers state that you are moving into a new paradigm and that things that you have needed or wanted will come to you now. Who swiped the $10 in the gas tank thing on the pump? And so when you look at the numbers, in each one of the set of numbers gave a positive answer to me that I'm on the right track, that I've got a clear communication with my higher self and my spirit guide, and that I'm in a new paradigm now, along with everybody else, but that, yes, I am in a new paradigm because of my clear contact with spirit guide and all the things that I have been practicing for 65 years. And now I'm here. I look at you now in this little video camera thing live and on YouTube, and I'm trying to figure out how $10 got on that gas thing. And then the numbers, her stopping the pump, and is this synchronicity? It's part of it, has to be. But as I sit and have mulled this over the last couple of hours, have discussed live on Facebook, and now I'm live now because it's like, this just honest to God happened. And I have a witness and we got proof, kind of, blah, 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 blah. And my friend, I've loved her to death. We've known each other for nigh on almost 40 years, okay? Literally that long. And when other friends would part and this and that, we always maintain a friendship. So there have been things that have happened to me that I'm like, I know I can't prove this to you, but, you know, spirit guide's been showing me this. It never showed me wrong. Never told me to do or go somewhere or whatever. If I follow the true spirit guide that I've known all my life, never steered me wrong. In fact, has kept me from getting into some serious crap, right? And literally saved my life twice, for sure. And so I've said these things to her, and it was almost like she was like, listen to me. Yes, you're my friend. And yes, I know, but okay. It was almost like proving to her, because I already know. It was almost like Creator, my spirit guide, proving to her in this 3D realm that we're in right now that he ain't lying to you, honey. what he is speaking to you is the truth, because this miracle just happened. There is no explanation. I mean, I'm trying not to laugh at the lady behind the counter, but I'm freaking out. Who put $10 in the damn on the machine? Nobody was there. There wasn't anybody. I said, did somebody previously do this by accident? I was, in a short period of time, I was trying to hit on all the possibilities. None of these possibilities existed, because she was like tapping her machine. No, somebody swiped it. Yeah, and it was just before you got there, because there was a timestamp, okay? So I got a timestamp. She's got the $10 swipe, and then, you know, there's a $6.68 that's paid for. And she's like, well, I said, well, what about the rest of the money? I don't know where that's going, but, you know, it'll just get credited to your account. I said, it ain't my account. It's not her account. We don't know who swiped $10 and put it on that pump. We don't know. You don't know. You've got a thing and you've got to know, but she can't track it as the who or the whatever. It just showed that a card was swiped and it was acknowledged and it was paid for. So we got $6.68 of free gas and a message through the numbers to me, and I think especially to her, because I've said some outrageous things on YouTube, on Facebook. I've written outrageous things, and I've always tried to tell as much of the truth as I understood it. And so, you know, if I'm lying, I'm dying. If I'm lying, shut me up. You know, I do not wish to speak any falsehoods. My prayer every single day is, Creator, fill me with wisdom and the knowledge to speak the truth to those who need to hear it. So that's my prayer. You know, I mean, for me, my prayer to everybody else is for healing and understanding and love and, you know, and peace and these things. And so when not having seen my friend in a while and not having much contact, not that there was any anger or anything, we just haven't. But for the numbers to come out the way they did, with the message that was in those numbers, the free gas, I mean, I had money to pay for it. That wasn't the issue. But the issue was, to me, I did a good deed for another person. It was okay. I've done it before. Not a big deal. It was something she didn't expect. She was expecting to pay for it and this and this and this. That interrupted her. Well, but thank you. Okay. We've known each other too long to argue over this kind of stuff, but, you know, well, but, you know, you didn't have to do that. Or, you know, there's been mamby-pamby stuff, but to the bottom line point of this, she shouldn't have been able to turn the pump on. It shouldn't have come on. I mean, you know, I went over to one of the other pumps and tried to turn it on and it wouldn't come on, right? And so it's like, okay. So who swiped their card? What card? From where? Where in any universe did somebody go? I mean, as we were driving up to the store, I could see there was nobody at the pumps. Had to go to the stoplight, wait until it cycled. Still nobody at the pumps. It took 5 minutes for us to get to the thing and go around and park up there. So a good 5 minutes, I observed no one near the pump. Nobody. We sat in the car for 2 or 3 minutes because there was just something in my head. It was like, how much money? And $10 popped in. And I said, okay, it's $10. $10 good for you? Yeah, okay. All right, I'll go pay for it. She started the pump and $10 was already there. What? WTF. I'm happy about it. Don't get me wrong, but it's creepy. Now, there are several things that I've been, you know, mulling over while after this has happened. And I have discussed in previous times that timelines are merging. Timelines are coming in. So did I swipe a card in a previous timeline? Did somebody, I mean, did she do it in a previous time? Was it, who paid? I don't know. But the fact is that it happened. The fact is that these were the numbers that came up. $6.68, 2 gallons and 40.42, $2.75 a gallon. Those numbers came up with a message, a positive one to me. But I think, like I said, it was meant more for my friend, because even though she trusts me and believes me, some of the stuff that's come out of my mouth, there are people that are like, nah, I don't know. You're really stretching it here. And then she saw it, experienced it, read the numbers herself. And now I know she's sitting at the house going, I don't know. I don't know what happened. Wait, oh, tinfoil hat are cool. Someone paid it forward. Yeah. Hey, could you ask your spirit guides to have mine contact mine? Yeah. Listen, I have been doing that. My prayer every day is for folks to allow the spirit to come to them. Careful, though. The jackbooted thugs don't like us hippies. No, they don't. And they get scared easily. They're real dangerous when they get scared. Yes, they do. And I was doing a live stream last night twice. The sound cut out, and then the video cut out right in the middle. I'm like, and I was just talking about, well, I guess abnormal things to some fucks. Happy birthday, Gemini. Mine is very soon, too. Actually, her birthday was in February, Valentine's Day. And this was the first time I had the chance to do something for her birthday. So it was a belated birthday. But happy birthday, Gemini. My son's birthday is on the 19th of this month. He, too, is a Gemini. You're a good sport. How many times have you been divorced? Too many. 1, 2, 4, at least. I don't even want to think about it, but yeah, 4 times. Because I'm too frickin' loony. I am the madman. I've had people recently just absolutely say, you're a madman, David. No, you're a madman. The things that you're thinking and the things you're discussing, you have got to be a madman. You need to go back on your meds. Sorry, the way I feel now is because I'm off of almost all the pharmaceuticals. To ask what? About happy birthday or divorced? It's okay, tinfoil hatter. That is all right. It's good. You'd have to go a long way to, like, you know, real left field. Good for me, what? That it doesn't bother me, or that I've been divorced 4 times? Oh, one of them I didn't really want, but I was caught in a situation that I swear I was looking down and stuff was going on. And I could see me here, but I could also feel myself looking down at the situation. And it was just like, how did I get here? And my higher self was telling me, this situation that you see from looking down on ain't a good one. And it's not, you're not going to be able to continue this in the future. There's a change here. And my inner self, I mean, I have fought some of this stuff, this left and right, and arguing with spirit, this right, but I thought in my brain I wasn't using my heart like I do now. I was, but my brain kept getting in the way. And that's one of the things that's happening to people right now. They're thinking they're using their heart when they're thinking, but they're being deceived when actually there's so much filter going on with their brain. It's filtering out the true heart self. Not everybody now, don't get me wrong, but there are those, and I've discussed it in this other live Facebook chat, and that there are people who have plenty of money every time and all that kind of good stuff. And I don't begrudge folks with money, but what I'm asking people to think about, if you think that you put $100 in a charity thing, and excuse me, I need to take my meds. If you put $100 into a charity thing, and bless me, I gotta find my meds. Hang on there for a second. It's nearby, I know. Here it is. You pay $100 to a charity, and then you say, well, I was compassionate today because I donated $100. Well, you might have I'm just saying, just don't quote me. You might have $500,000 in the bank. And okay, $100, no sweat, you can afford it. And in your heart at the time, you say, oh, $100 to the charity. And then you go home and then you forget about it. But later on, you can say, well, I was compassionate. I gave a charity $100. But where did that $100 go? Did it go to someone, really? I mean, how many times do we find out the money that we give to a charity in good faith doesn't make it where it should go? So my question to folks has been very simple. Are you really being compassionate? Was that compassion? Or were you just trying to tell yourself, I don't have time to be really compassionate, so I'm going to fake it by donating $100 to a charity? So I have fulfilled my obligation. Hello, Marie. Blessings and salutations to the other side of the world with you. And so these people, and excuse me for having this, but I let my antihistamines run out. Hello, 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 hello. I used the $100 just as a, as a symbol, as a start point. But people who will go to church on Sunday, and I have argued with some of these folks, you go in and you pay your tithe. Because I went to church. I was raised in the Catholic Church. I was an altar boy. I was this. I was almost going to become a priest at one time. And then the nun told me to study Buddhism. That's in a previous video, and I won't rehash that. But to this point, though, I grew up with folks, and you could tell who the real folks were. The little old lady that only had $20 to a name gave $10. She gave half of her income. Yeah, kind of, sort of. Want me to go back through it? Tinfoil Hatter might not want to hear it over again. Ask him. I'm good, But so that the compassion, people, it's real easy. Well, I hit a like button and I said, I'm praying for you to somebody. No, I'm not making light of that. I understand, Tinfoiler. I mean, I get $1,000 a month. And I'm supposed to pay this and that and this and that. I mean, I've been pulling my own teeth because I don't have enough money to go to a dentist. I mean, that is sad. That's the truth. I hate it. Can't get anybody to help me out. I've tried with the social this, that, and the other thing. Nope. Because I'm not on Medicaid, I can't see a dentist. Because for some reason, Congress and the Dental Association, you can't see a dentist unless it's life-threatening. I'm serious. They will not pay for a dentist. Even if you go to the emergency room, they won't pay for a dentist. No, I've been there. My mouth been so swelled up and please help me. Oh, well, here's some antibiotics. Go home and go to your own dentist. Tinfoil alert, there was no one there to prepay. Not, at least not for the 5 or 6 or 7 minutes as we drove in. But to the point, a spirit went in with a magical card because the lady couldn't tell me only that it was paid for. She kept looking like there was supposed to be a number or name or something on the car. All she could tell me was, Marie, basically, I took me and a friend of mine of many years went to supper tonight. On the way home, I'm telling her about these things that I've been discussing with you and stuff. And she loves me, but, you know, I'm crazy, Dave. And we got to this gas station. She asked me how much. I said, okay, how about $10? You know, and I was figuring out how much it was a gallon and blah, blah, 3 or 4 gallons, you know, be enough. And anyway, she starts pumping gas. I go into the store for the pay for it. And the lady behind the counter says it's already paid for. So if you go back and listen to the beginning of this, we went back and forth and back and forth. We didn't swipe no card on pump number 5. And she was able, my friend Marcia, was able to pump only $6.68 worth of gas. That came to 2.42 gallons. I wrote it down. And it was $2.75 per gallon. These numbers all had a message to them. And she read them off when I was live on Facebook earlier this evening because I was so freaked out when I got home. But basically, it's that my higher self knows that I'm in touch and that the 242 said that my mind was now open and that I had a clear contact to my spirit guide. That's what the 242 read to me. And then the 275 was that I'm moving into a new paradigm and a new way of thought, and that money and things will come to me in ways that hadn't before, blah, blah, blah. Oh my God. Somebody, Miss Marie, there was no one around this gas station because I could see it as we come up the hill. Nobody there. Almost ready to close. It's the last station going out of Thomasville to the north. Last stop before we head to the country, out here 20 miles in the country. And somebody swiped exactly $10. But the pump wouldn't pump more than $6.68. So, Miss Marie, you heard me chatter on for hours and hours and hours. You know, so when I talk about something like this happening, I was just sitting in the car. I laughed all the way home. And my friend is like, are you sure you didn't pay for that? And I'm like, honey, take the numbers home. Look them up in your book. And she did. And she called me back. It's on my Facebook Live where she called me on the phone. I'm holding the phone up like this, you know, and listening to what she says. I'm going to have to listen back because I can't forget. May your harvest be plentiful. It already is. And that's one of the things that these last few years have taught me. I had to learn, and I've discussed this before, Marie, I think with you, I had to learn what I needed and what I wanted. And what I thought I needed was actually what I wanted. And there's a lot of internal arguments with myself. Well, wait, don't you need this? And then when it came back around, that maybe later on, I didn't really need that, but my brain had the rest of me figured out that my heart felt I had to have it, that it was a necessity. At the time, though, to make my mind calm down, it actually was a necessity. But what things proved out over time was when I thought I needed it then, actually, I never really used it up to now. So when I look back at some things I thought I absolutely had to have and needed, turned out that, no, you really didn't. So that, and it's been cumulative. So as I look at my life at $1,000 a month, and you got so much you got to pay out every month, it doesn't leave you with a whole lot of residual, you know? And I'm not bitching. And that's my point. 2 years ago, all I could do was bitch about it. Social Security stole $400 a month from me before I ever got my first check. I've got it written down. I've got letters from the attorney. I got a letter from the judge who gave me the what do you call it? The okay, but anyway, I have it on paper. And in 2009, they passed a law just before I got my early retirement / disability. They slashed all of our us baby boomers, slashed our checks. So I went from $1,250 a month to $800 a month. They still owe me that damn money. But over the last 9 years, actually, I guess now, because it's 2/18. So in December, it will be 9 years. But over the 9 years from 800, they have, quote, given me raises when actually they should have been paying me $1,250 from the beginning. I now make $1,036 per month. Oh boy, I used to make that a week. Well, every 10 days. So I was making almost $4,000 a month when I lost my job to the Mexican government, and 800 people lost their jobs to Mexico. So in this blessings, in this what is necessary, what do I need versus what I want? If I allow my necessities to be taken care of, and full-heartedly 100%, you can't fudge on this number because it don't work. It works partially, but you have to believe 100%. If you don't believe, just want to ask you a question. I thought about last time we spoke. Have you ever sold your puppets to private collectors? Nobody wants to buy them. But no, not yet, because I'm not dead yet. And I'm going to start doing puppets again. I spoke to a friend of mine the other day that I haven't spoke to in 8 years. He was the one that went with me as part of the miracle thing, I guess. We were sitting here one day, 2009. I just got my first check from the government for my Social Security, and I got a spiritual message. We got up. It was middle of December, 15th, somewhere in there, 19th, I don't know, about. I said, hey, Tim, want to go to town? What for? I don't know. Something says I got to go to town. We went into town. Mulled around, went by and saw a friend of mine. Now, we're sitting here watching Netflix, okay? Minding our own business, okay? And we went to town, and on the way back from town is when we came upon a horrible accident. A gentleman was drunker than a skunk, had hit the end of a guardrail. He was going so fast, it folded the guardrail up, sent it through the grill, sent it through the firewall, cut his leg off below the knee, went under the seat, through the back of the cab, and through the back of the pickup truck. And the guardrail was sticking, folded in half, mind you, this far into the bed of the pickup truck. When we got there, nobody, nothing. Desolate road. There was a fire under the truck with gasoline dripping onto the road, onto the fire. Me and my friend Tim, he got out. I went over and I called 911 while he went and pulled this gentleman out of the truck, missing a leg, and the truck's on fire. He puts out the fire, and we dragged this gentleman far enough away from the truck and off to the side, and I'm treating him for shock. He's missing a leg. I mean, I'm sorry, but I've been through a lot of stuff, but I've never come across something where there's somebody laying on the side of the road that I'm caring for that's missing a leg, and the foot's over there somewhere. Neither one of us freaked out. He being in the Navy and flight decks and things, he went right, howdy Milky Way. He went straight to work with putting out the fire. He had done rescue on the ships and things and fire brigade. Oh, anyway, so he gets the guy out of the truck wasn't burning, the ground was burning, but it could have went up just any second. I still don't understand why it didn't blow up. That was part of that thing. So Tim drags the guy out. I'm on the phone, and when we were at my friend's house, her microwave oven kept going off, and it was nobody around it, and it was flashing 431, 431. Okay, turned it off. 431, 431. Went back over and turned it off again. Me and Tim standing there talking with my friend, and the damn timer went off on the thing again. 431. And Marcia looked at me. I looked at Tim. We looked at each other, and I said, I guess it's time for us to go. We went straight on the way home, and we had reached there apparently just after this guy had hit the end of the guardrail. Now, I listened to my spirit guide, got up from my house 20 miles to town, no particular reason except that I was asked to go, that I was needed for something. I thought it was to pick up something for my friend Marcia, who was sick at the time at home, and we did pick up something for her and stop by there. But then when the alarm kept going off on her microwave oven, it was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, 431, 431. When I called 911 to report the accident and what was going on, I looked at the clock and it said 1:34 a.m. 431 in reverse. Holy crap. It was 1:34. And as I'm dialing 911, I'm saying to myself, Marcia's not going to believe this, but she will, because we've had these synchronicities before. But never me leave my house, that comfort in the night. It was warm here. It was cold outside. Go into town 20 miles for what? We didn't know. My friend Tim, God bless him, believes in me enough. He went. And it required both of us to save this man's life. And when it took him 20 minutes for the sheriff to get there, it took another 10 or 15 minutes for the ambulance to get there. If we had not got there and pulled this gentleman out of that truck, or had we gone home earlier or not gone at all, no one came down that road for 30 minutes except the sheriff. He would have died. The truck would have blown up. Now, I spoke with my friend after, I guess, maybe 5 years of not speaking or having any contact, not mad at each other. He got married and has a life, and, you know. But when I talked to him, he said, you know, Dave, he said, I was thinking about this the other day. And he said, I've thought about how that guy's leg was missing and how I pulled him out of the truck and how I was worried, not for myself, but the truck was going to blow up and kill this guy. He wasn't worried for himself. He was worried for the guy. We didn't know this guy. So this miracle happened in 2009, where we went to town and ended up saving a human being's life. When the sheriff got there, he said, how did you guys got things under control? And he's on the phone like, you guys got to get here. You guys got to get there. You guys got to get here. Come on, come on, come on. This guy's missing a leg and we're calm down, Sheriff. We got it. You know, he stopped bleeding. I had my belt off, was going to put a tourniquet on it but he wasn't bleeding out. The thing that was so strange is when the steel went through his vehicle, the friction of the steel going through the firewall of the truck and through all this other, I mean, it tore off the parts of the engine. I mean, but the metal was so hot that it cauterized his veins and his artery. So he wasn't spouting blood. because it would have only took a couple of minutes for him to bleed out. I mean, I had my belt off. I was fixing to cinch him up, but there was just a little bit of spotty blood. And so here he is, and Tim's trying to hold him down. We're treating him for shock. I've got a blanket on him. It's cold in the dickens out there, especially on the wet ground on the side of the road at 1:34 in the morning. And so I'm trying to, creeped out because I've never held onto somebody's stump. And so I'm like, okay. So I grab his leg, and he's, thank God he was so drunk. And Tim's trying to hold him still because he's obviously got an issue with his head, because his head hit the windshield and the steering wheel was bent. I mean, this guy was tore up, okay? They estimated he hit the end of that guardrail at over 100 miles an hour. So as I'm getting ready to cinch him up, the EMTs show up, okay? And most of the time they come in and they go, okay, everybody get back, get back. They saw what we did, and they joined our team. What do I mean by that? The team was this. Tim and I had pulled this gentleman out of a burning vehicle, had stabilized him, treating him for shock. There wasn't anything else we could have done with what we had other than the belt as a tourniquet. And that was, I just didn't want, in case this guy started bleeding, he would have been dead, period. There was no, he's missing the bottom of his leg. The EMTs were like, oh my God, you guys are angels. You guys are the greatest. How can we help you? I'm like, what? So there was a female and a male, and the male came over, and he had his gloves on and everything, all prepared, and he's got his gauze and on the tape and everything, you know, and he's trying to lift this guy's leg up, hold it, wrap it, and he's drunk and trying to move. And without thinking, I have bent down to help this guy, and I grabbed a hold of this gentleman's stump. And the EMT looked at me and he went, but you don't have any gloves on. And I said, so? He goes, but you've got this guy's blood all over your hands. And I said, but he's still alive. And I said, better that I have his blood and he's still alive than, you know, to me to worry about whether or not I've got someone's blood on my hands. Better that I do it this way. But what if you get, I said, it's too late. No, you know, I got blood on my, now I'm holding this guy's stump right here at the knee kind of thing. And it was cut off right about there. So there's, I don't know, 8 inches maybe sticking down. Okay. And so the guy's wiggling and I'm holding him still, and he's wrapping gauze and tape and cleaning his best. He's just trying to get him so they can get him to the hospital, stabilize him, which we do. In the meantime, these EMTs are like, how did it, as part of this little conversation of getting this guy into the, you know, the wagon, how did you guys, you knew exactly what to do. Are either of you guys EMTs? No, I studied first responder. I was a Cub Scout and a Boy Scout. I learned most of what I just did in the Boy Scouts when I was 12. I'm 60 now. At that time, I was almost 60. And I said, you know, so I've known this for a long time. I've helped people over the years, not as severe as this. You know, we're just having conversation as we're tying them, and, you know, and Tim's like, well, I was in the Navy and I worked on the flight deck and blah, blah, blah. He was trained more than I was. But they were so impressed by these two hippies that were headed home, had stopped and saved this man. And Tim and I both said, you know, it didn't bother me. I was holding on to this guy's stump. I didn't freak out. We got him settled. I washed my hands. They got him in the thing. They're getting ready to go. As we walk around the corner of the ambulance, one of the other EMTs or the firemen or something had a great big plastic bag, and in it was this guy's foot. That freaked us out. Holding on to a bloody stump didn't freak me out. But seeing the guy's foot in a plastic bag as he was walking around and going to, you know, that freaked us out. Even to this day, when I spoke to him 2 days ago, He says, you know, I still get creeped out about that guy coming around the corner with his foot in the bag. And I said, I know. I'm not creeped out. I was holding on to a bloody stump. Where do you get, you know? Why am I telling this? It's the truth. That's for one. It was almost about 6 weeks later. We went over and was my second wife. It was her daughter. I tried to adopt her way back during the day, but she wouldn't let me. But Bobby Jean was always special to me, and I was always special to her. And we reconnected after a lot of years. Facebook, in fact. She calls me up. We get together, and I go over there. Tim and I go over to play music, sit around, and chit chat and just visit, you know. And we tell this story. Now, my daughter, in a way, I really consider her my daughter, but she's no relation. But my daughter, I'm sitting there, and I'm telling her this story, and she goes, was that on Lower Meigs Road? Yeah. Was that blah, 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 blah? Yeah. That's my cousin's ex-husband. What? They had just had a divorce that day. He had gotten drunk and thought he was staying at a friend's house, thought he was going to go home. He wanted to go see his ex-wife. He didn't want to be divorced. He wanted to see his daughter. This is what other folks told me about after the fact. And so in his blind stupidity, he literally turned the wrong way, was headed into town on the road when he should have been actually going the opposite direction. That was one. The other thing was he was going so fast. And she said, but it was you and Tim who saved him? Yeah, we guess. We didn't know the name. I still don't know the guy's name, okay? It was her cousin's husband, ex-husband. She said, my God, he's already got a fake leg, a prosthetic. She said, I saw him in the store the day before. No, this has been several years ago, but she said, I saw him in the store just the other day, and she said, he doesn't even limp. She said, but he doesn't drink like he used to, and he loves his daughter and this and that, and it changed his life. And I was like, well, I'll be damned. So, I mean, you never know what it is that is going to happen. For me and Tim to get up from our nice little warm house in the middle of a movie watching on Netflix, go to town and end up saving somebody's life. I listen to my spirit guide. When I talk to folks and I mention Mother Mary, and that Mother Mary has been coming to me since a child, and all the things that I've discussed about that, they go, oh, poo-poo, you know, because it's so hard to believe that I had Mother Mary 7 feet away from where I'm sitting now appear to me physically in a nice glow-shaped thing and say, yes, you're on the right track. Keep going. Don't give up, Dave. So here I am now. Why am I saying this now? We had this little miracle that happened today with somebody swiping $10 on it. There's just no way this was a mistake, because if somebody would have had to swipe their card twice, I mean, as discussing it with the lady behind the counter, and we were talking about it on the way home, blah, blah, blah. And as I was going through this, and I'm like, it was only $10, but that wasn't it. It was the numbers, the 668, the 242, and the 275, what Martha read from the book, and what that meant. It all had to do with spiritual. It had to do with my clean and open mind connection to my higher self and to my spirit guide and guardian angel. I wrote that part down on the edge of this little paper. The 668 was that I'm moving into a new paradigm. No, that was the other number. The 668 had to do, again, with spirit guide and guardian angels, and, you know, and that I'm in touch and that what I'm doing is correct. Now, I say what I'm doing, the numbers meant whoever the numbers were for. I submit, as I did earlier in my other video, that this wasn't necessarily meant for me. It was meant for my friend. It was meant for my friend Marcia to go, you know, honey, I've told you some really strange things. We've been friends for a long time, and I'm spouting off some really radical, crazy shit. And I don't expect anybody to believe me, but it's my job to make you aware of these things. It's up to you to make your own choice and make your decision. But if you don't know of some of these things, then how can you be aware? If no one's told you a basic, simple, honest truth without trying to glitz it up with a bunch of crap and, oh, you got to do this to that, to this to that. Nope, you don't. It's all real simple. And that's what I'm supposed to show. You don't need extensive giant ceremonies. All of those, sometimes those are good. I love going to native powwows. I'm a Native American, a good part of me. And I knew this when I was 11 in the Boy Scouts, Cub Scouts. I knew things in the woods that I just somehow it was from a previous life. So I'm bringing forth my previous life into this one. And what this life was told me, I was a really nasty SOB in the last one. And I had to make up for killing people, for doing nasty things, for not caring, for not being compassionate. That was my previous self. I'm here to correct my previous mistake and also to try to help others, you know, hey, I did this, it was wrong. Please don't make the same mistake. I have found something that is simple, and Mother Mary, higher spirits, guardian angel, whatever you wish to call it, my spirit guide, says that I should help explain some of these things. And where it's really complicated to other folks, if you throw this, and this off, get right down to the core, it isn't really that difficult. But because folks throw so much in our brains and faces, the adage of you can't see the forest for the trees is so true. And there are some people can't see the forest because of a tree, one tree. And that's just as bad. We focus on one, and that's all we can see. When there are other people, there are other situations, there are other countries, whatever the deal, we're only focused on one thing. And we need to take into consideration. We don't have to accept and carry other folks' burdens. The lady I met, there was a lady a couple of days ago, and there was some really negative stuff, and I could empathize with her, but her energy was so negative for what had happened to her. I felt that it was like infringing on me. And in the past, I would have taken in some of that negative energy so I could feel empathy for her, which is not what you should do, really. So I have empathy at a distance. It's still true empathy, but I don't absorb that negative, nasty, whatever that person is having. Because if I absorb any of what they have, it will affect my positive outcome. So I have to and trust me, this is a difficult thing. One of the reasons why it's taken me so long to learn this is because it's weird and strange and out there, and they don't give classes on this. But I've learned to keep a certain amount of distance. It's not a lot, but I don't absorb the energy. I feel it, but it just stays over there. I've already experienced a similar type of feeling in my own lifetime. That's why I've been beat up, drowned, all these other things. So, but I don't have to take their burden on now. I use my own experience and push it back. So my experience is what keeps me from absorbing hers or theirs or whatever. So this is a safe way to help folks without getting quote, involved. Yeah, I relate to that because I'm dyslexic and some people just make it all complicated for me to understand. So mostly I've relied on my own experiences. Marie, exactly. As a child growing up, some folks could read a passage and they would get it immediately. And I would have to read it over and over and over and over. And what I learned is that if I read it aloud and I heard it through my own voice box thing, I retained the energy and the message and most of the information. And so I also learned to take a snapshot. I had a teacher one time, and this is like back in the mid 60s, okay? Catholic school, black nuns in black outfits with this much of their face showing and rulers that they hit you with all the time. And true. And so I'm trying to do this test. And the nun standing behind me looking over my shoulder, and she goes, "What are you doing?" And I was sitting there going, page 1. I could see the page number. I could see if it was if the book's open, if it was on the left hand or the right hand side page with the number, depending, top, bottom, left, right, whatever. I could see the page in my head. And I could see the paragraph where the answer was in the book, on the page. And I would tell this one particular nun, I said, "Sister, the answer is on page 45 on the third paragraph, second sentence." And I said, "But I can't remember it." And she went and got a book and opened it up. And on page 45, third paragraph, second sentence was the answer. And she pulled me onto the side and I failed the test. She said, "How can you do that?" And I said, "I don't know. I just took a picture. I focused so hard on that page where the answer was. I couldn't see the answer, but I knew its location on the page." That's just creepy. That's creepy. But to the point, though, our minds, we check it. Sometimes it makes me feel dumb if it goes over my head. Exactly. I started out, I don't know, of a class of 175, I started well in the first 100, somewhere. They tested me for my IQ, and I was somewhere around 135, okay? By the end of high school, I was like 160 of 175. I was at the end of the class. But because of all the things I couldn't understand, and every time I couldn't understand it, somebody told me I was stupid. And the more I tried, the worse it got. And as high school went along, the test got harder, this and that. Catholic school was really tough, but I appreciate it. But at the same time, I was being, the stress was harder. The stress was harder. And I'm growing up. I'm a teenager, all these other things. And I'm getting messages from Mary, for God's sakes, And so now I'm like, well, so after the fact, I had teachers, and especially Sister Helene from Tampa Catholic, say, "David, I'm so sorry. I didn't understand. I would have treated you differently. I thought you were just being lazy." And I was going, "No, I was at the top of my class in drawing. I can envision things in a 3D construct that people can't see in a 2D. And I can translate that, at least I used to really well, onto paper, pencil, this. Now, I can't draw a horse. I can't draw a face. I can't draw people or things like that. A building? A building? I've been an architect in a previous life and also this one. But to the point, though, what my brain could see, I could see buildings, shapes, lines, things. I even did from a magazine picture out of Look magazine back in the day that was about this big, of the cathedral in Chartres in France. Big flying buttresses, all this huge cathedral deal, middle-aged thing. Yeah, you got high marks in art. Yeah, I see art and those types of things. I was great at puppetry. I was great at this. I was great at that. But don't ask me to repeat this and write this down. You know. Um, so my explanation to folks when they want to poo-poo stuff so quickly, I've said in other videos in Facebook, and like, if you think you're going to heaven and you keep going to church and all this other kind of stuff, and you're reading your Bible and the King James Version is false. So right there, you know, if you're still reading the KJV, you're already running at a deficit. And I've explained, go back to the old text, go back and read what King James changed. Why did he change them? He was a cross-dressing homosexual who was very bright, but he loved to pander other guys, and there he had a boyfriend in France, okay? And the reason he changed the Bible was because the priest and the bishops and the Pope weren't happy with him because he wanted a divorce from his wife so he could diddle the guy in France. Check on it. It's there. No. Isn't that kind of weird because the Catholic Church does nothing but diddle, you know? But so people who think because they've been misled, and because of all the dogma, I mean, I was speaking to folks before in my Facebook chat that I went to high school with, Catholic high school. So I'm telling them things about the Bible and about the dogma and about this, that, and the other thing. And these folks are still Catholic. And they went through all the changes. But what they don't know is that every change has been made. They've been lied to every time. But if you must go back, just go to Revelations where John bows before the angel that appears to him back in chapter 19 and again in 20, 21, something like that. Anyway, and the angel comes and John's all bowed down and the angel says, "Get up, my brother. You are as I am. Get up, stand up with me." And he's like, "But I praise the angel, but I am the angel of the Lord. I am his messenger, but you are like me." And then it says again, he bows down before the angel who comes to him. And this is sort of in the last chapter. And the angel says again, "Stand up, my brother." You know, how many people tell us in any kind of church? Now, some of them do, but they're really kind of weird and they've got other things going on. But very few people will say, "But the angel said, stand up," that you are like the angel. What? That means we're all angels. What? We are all angels. Said twice, two different passages in the end of the Bible. "Stand up, my brother. You are as I." And right after that, the angel tells John, any one who changes the word of God shall be erased from the tree of life. Their name shall be stricken from the tree of life. What has Pope Francis done? Recently, they put in a new Catholic Bible, and he told all the Catholics, if you're reading an older Bible, you are a heretic. And if you are going to, there are a bunch of Catholics who split off back in the day, and some of them are still worshiping under the older system. That one's still even flawed. And so, but recently they rewrote the Catholic Bible again, the new Catholic Bible. There was nothing wrong with the old one, but simply because they've changed it yet again, this is like the fourth time in so many years, the Catholics changed the Bible. But the Pope telling folks, and he's supposed to be God on earth, the Pope is the Antichrist. Folks are looking for the Antichrist. He's in Rome. He's been in Rome. All of the popes are antichrist, because the true meaning of an antichrist is that you are the antithesis. You are the you are the not alter ego, but kind of sort of. And so you are the representation. You are the antichrist, not anti as against Christ. You are the other part of Christ. No, Antichrist is not world domination. That's the point, Marie. You have to go into the words and look at the true meaning. It means that he is Christ on earth, which is, we say anti-Semitism, anti-this, anti-that. Antichrist was around before we changed the meaning of anti. Okay? Antichrist used to mean God on earth. Okay? It's just like when I was growing up, groovy, there were things that we said, back in the 20s and 30s of the last century, slipped and do and blah, 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 And now when people say, you the bomb, is reversed exactly. So everybody's been looking for the devil of the opposite of Christ on earth, when the Antichrist has been here all along in the form of the Pope. It's been right there, but our language has changed. The Antichrist hasn't, but the like I say, was, he's the representative here on earth. Reversed, that's the cabal. That's these number freakos, and that's them guys. And that's what was so kind of creepy to me, Miss Marie, when at the gas pump station thingy today, the three numbers that come up, I thought it said 666, and I was going to jump out of the car. It said 668. And that answer was totally different from what I really wasn't expecting anything. But when I saw the 2 6s, I was like, is this heading the wrong way? But it was a positive message. The 8 changed the 2 6s. So anyway, and then the 242 number, I got it wrote down here, open-mindedness and a clear connection to your higher self. Yeah, it was $6.68. Someone had swiped on, I don't know how they are where you are, but our pumps have it. You can put a card in or swipe it, a credit card, and you put in how much money you want and you swipe your card, right? Someone had put $10 in exactly, had swiped a card, and like I was telling earlier, as we were come up the hill, you can see this thing from 2 miles away. There was nobody at the store because it was getting ready to close. And it's out in the country. It's Monday night, all these things. And so I can see this thing. We're driving up to turn lane, stop at the stoplight, blah, blah, blah. It takes 5 minutes for us to make the whole up, make the turn, and come around and park at the pump. There were no cars. There was no one at the store as we were pulling up and doing our turn and coming around. So the fact, whoever swiped the $10, it wouldn't go, she couldn't pump more than $6.68. It stopped. And she was like, well, I thought you said $10. And I said, I did. She goes, well, but it won't go past this. So $6.68 on his forehead, huh? Really? I've not seen these numbers. Now, in my little bit of world of gematria, I would have said, 6 plus 6 is 12. 12 is a 1 and a 2. That's 3. 3 plus 8 is 11. And then 11, 1 plus 1 is 2. And my friend said, well, but that don't work. And I said, but wait a minute. Hang on. If you take and add 6 plus 6 is 12. Plus 8 is 20. If you drop the 0, you end up with 2. Either way, that's 668. I mean, come on now. She's pumping gas. It could have stopped on 67 or 69 or pumped the whole 10. It stopped on that number. Okay. So, but the fact that as we're driving home and I'm going and I'm just doing this in my head and I'm going, it both comes out to 2. I said, I haven't done a lot of numbers, but the numbers that I have done, that doesn't necessarily work every time. There's got to be something kind of cool with the 668 and whatever that is. So she went home and looked it up, and that's where I'm at with this point. But so your friend that's entering, I knew a guy who was a musician. I went to watch him play a gig, and he wrote 668 on his forehead like a message. He was like an initiation to many changes that have come into my life. Now, see, that's what the 668 said when she read it back to me. I'm going to have to listen to my own video on Facebook. And I'm going to have to call her up, and I'm going to have to write this down, what she read to me. But it was all positive, and it all had to do with higher self. Guardian angels specifically was said, and the communication thereof, and that I was on the right track. And I think this message was meant for her because she's a little disbelieving of me. Even though she loves me and we've been friends for 40 years, I come up with crazy shit. And it's hard for me to believe this stuff. I'm having issues with who swiped her damn card on this pump, you know? It happened. It's the truth. Holy crap. So am I looking for a deeper meaning? Yeah, in a way. In that this was a direct message for me, but to her as well. He may be crazy, Marcia, but some of this stuff he's telling you, you're going to have to accept. Because she's like, yeah, okay. Now she doesn't believe in the Christian kind of God kind of thing. In the way she's a little bit more Wiccan, but to the good point. Always good, always positive. And she was telling me on the way into town, she was having a bad time. She'd been cranky and and so I was trying to be positive. I paid for the dinner where she had offered to pay for me, and just, you know, so her perception was changed by my attitude and by my actions. And at the end, just before we left to go into the country, the gas, the numbers, and the message. Oh my God. Oh my God. So the story about who we saved before, I brought that up because that is something I could look back through the records. There are people who can prove it, who can give testimony. Yes, all these facts are true. Yes, we saved this man's life. And Tim and I sat and discussed this on the phone the other morning, and it was curious because I was using this phone right here, right? And I don't know, we'd been on the phone for at least an hour, and it beep, beep, beep. Okay, time to put it on the charger. So I told my friend, I said, you know, Tim, I said, it usually gives me 3 sets of beeps. Beep, 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 wait a little bit. Beep, 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 wait a little bit. Beep, 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 phone goes dead. So I told him, I said, I'm going to hold this phone, and he couldn't see me. I said, I've got the phone in my left hand. And I said, but I'm going to be shooting energy into this phone, and I'm going to see how long I can keep it charged. 30 minutes later, this phone was still going beep, beep, beep. Beep, beep, beep. It wasn't until I said, dude, I can't keep this phone on any longer. And I heard him laugh, and the phone cut off. And I put it on the charger. And he was on the other end. He goes, I thought you were going to hang up. It's been 20 minutes. Your phone. And he could hear the beep on the other end, you know. And he's like, and he lived with me for a while. He knows this phone. He knows what the 3 beeps mean and how many times. And he's like, oh. So he even said, I can't believe your phone hasn't died yet. And I'm like, I know. Beep, beep, beep. And I said, only the energy from Creator in my hand is supplying energy to this phone so that I can talk to you, because our conversation isn't over. He has to go because his mother passed away and he has to deal with some bad things, and we weren't done with the conversation. Creator allowed me to keep this phone on without it going dead until our conversation was done. He can prove it. I can talk about it. Bottom line, holy crap. There are miracles going around. I say around me, but these miracles are going around other people too. So I wish to share my miracle. As crazy as this damn thing is, the numbers that came across, and all I can say is that those things that I speak, if we go down to the basic bottom line of love, respect, compassion for our fellow man, and do it from the heart and not through the head, that we are going to be able to make a wonderful change on this earth. I firmly believe it. The free gas tonight and the numbers coming across. Oh, okay, I believe. And that was the message, Dave. I prayed the other night. I said, I really don't like doing this. I don't like sticking my head up. Folks are going to start taking pot shots at me. And Mother Mary said, Dave, I warned you and I told you that I would take care of it. I was like, yeah, I know. But I'm still scared. You know, there are crazy people. There's 7 billion people in this world. And I'm going to get on YouTube and Facebook and I'm going to talk about this crazy stuff. And somebody's going to want to use me like a whack-a-mole and knock me out. You know, Mother Mary, again, told me, calm down, Dave. Go ahead and do it. You're on the right track. Okay. So I didn't ask for any proof or messages or anything. This was me and my little conversation with the higher self. And am I doing the right thing? Whatever. Tonight, I got all these messages in the numbers. And it also went to my friend to prove to her these things are true. Amen. That's all I got to say. Miss Marie, I love you, my dear. If I ever had to change, I'm going to come. We're going to have coffee sometime or tea or whatever. But I love you with all my heart, soul, and my soul heart. I mean this. Pass it around. As we have discussed, I'm sure you will pass compassion around. That should be our goal. If we don't knee-jerk react to those people who cuss us out, and we say, that's okay, fine, have a nice day, Christ-like, turn the other cheek, doesn't mean getting beat up. Yeah, it's getting late, and I'm going to go too. It's raining, so I sort of don't want to go hiking in town, but I got to get it done. I love you, my dear. Be safe, be careful, and I'll talk to you on the next time around. So the end of this stream will be at 5, 4, 3, 2, and bye, Marie.